Corsica, the place where Napoleon was born. Known for its crystal sea, magnificent beaches, and high mountains. On this small island, there are more than 20 mountain peaks exceeding 2,000 meters, with Monte Cinto exceeding 2,700 meters being its highest one. This small piece of land, with an area of less than 9,000 square kilometers, 180 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, is for us, motorcyclists eager for adventures, truly a heaven on earth. Countless narrow turns, high-speed sections, roads over cliffs, magnificent landscapes, beautiful views. We crave it in the hope of another memorable motorcycle adventure. We start our Corsican adventure on the D80 road. Running from Bastia, we pass through the entire northern peninsula to Saint Florent. Later, we enter the D81 road and head to Calvi. Emotions are already there. Even on the ferry, the trip from Livorno to Bastia takes only 4 hours. However, they pass very slowly as everyone awaits the motorcycle paradise. When the buildings of Bastia appeared to our eyes, we smiled at each other, knowing that our adventure had just begun. After traveling a few kilometers, we had no doubt that we had found the right place. The initial large traffic disappeared, and the D80 road, twisted to the limit, was ours to take. Left, right, up, down, fast, slow, narrow, and wide. It was all there. Great views that we admired while driving at a tourist pace, and faster sections that we traveled rapidly to satisfy the motorcycle desire for speed. It was a good day. The beginning of the next day was not optimistic, in terms of the weather, of course. The enthusiasm after yesterday's arrival was enormous, and everyone could not wait to continue the trip. We prayed it wouldn't rain. As we were leaving Calvi, we immediately started to climb, and it truly marked the rest of the day. The quality of the roads we traveled left a lot to be desired, which is why the pace of our journey was rather slow. It had its bright side as we could admire the views and magnificent landscapes that were abundant there. We were happy to enjoy them during the first part of the day, as later, in the higher parts of the mountains, the weather got foggy. Nothing terrible, but during such a ride, all the pleasure of traveling by motorcycle vanishes. It's amazing how this island is undulating and crisscrossed by rock formations. We started at the seaside, and after a mere 20 minutes, we were at an altitude of 1.5 kilometers, only to be at sea level again the next moment. On the route, we had to deal with a cracked tire in one of our machines, so we slightly modified the plan. The adventure at its best. The west coast of Corsica, Le Calanque de Piana, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This sentence should be enough to describe the stay. Traveling along the D81 road among these rock formations is a must for every self-respecting motorcyclist. It is a narrow, winding strand of asphalt, separating the red rocks and the azure sea. This is a view that remains in one's memory for a long time after experiencing it. It is a road similar to the characteristic balcony roads in the French Alps, but with the sea and its beautiful blue shades in the distance. For this road alone, it is worth coming to Corsica. For the very experience of riding this road, it is worth traveling on a motorcycle. of our Corsican expedition, we continued our journey through the southwest roads with asphalt of better quality, where we could sometimes speed up the pace. Today was not intense. We did less than 200 kilometers and could spend the afternoon on the beach, and at the end of the day with a bottle of Vermentino. After a relatively calm last day, there was a lot of exciting things waiting for us again today. In the beginning, we reached Bonifacio, a small port town on the Strait of St. Boniface, considered by many to be the most beautiful natural port in the Mediterranean Sea. The good idea there is to find the steps of the King of Aragon, carved in rock, leading to the sea. Narrow streets, cramped buildings, and numerous taverns with excellent local food are the hallmarks of this place. We drove further up to the vantage point located to the south of the city to observe the white cliffs of Bonifacio. Only from the seaside, one can see its fantastic location and the beauty of the whole area at the same time. The interior again, heading towards Bastia, the beginning of our journey. Once again, we were driving on twisted roads. We drove to the top of the mountain pass, and after a while, we found ourselves again in heavily forested and secluded areas, where the only companions we met were wild Corsican pigs. The final episode of our adventure, as we were continuing our journey through the interior, along roads long forgotten by God, seeing homes standing alone, we wondered how people could live in such conditions. At the same time, we had to admit that the peacefulness there was definitely to be envied. The main road from Bonifacio to Bastia is 170 kilometers long and can be covered in 3 hours. If someone decides on the route that leads closer to the center of the island, the distance doubles and the time needed to cover it triples. This case perfectly illustrates how twisted and undulating the Corsican paths are. Our time in Corsica is over. It was a time filled with great moments, and the experiences we had here will remain in our memory for a long time. As we set sail and headed back towards Livorno, a tear in the eye came to many of us.